Hey everyone and welcome to the Red Men TV. This is the Uncensored Match Build Up. Apologies to everyone watching us live. We were a little bit late starting, mainly because Arne Slot was late with his press conference and everything backfilled from there. So blame him, don't blame us. But we are here to build up to Liverpool versus Aston Villa, 8 o'clock at Anfield on Saturday night. And to talk about it with me, Steve Hoare, I've got Andy Bell and Abby Rudkin. Yeah guys, we're going to have a little chat about Villa in the first half, what they've been good at, what they've been bad at. After the break, we'll focus more on the Reds, team news, injuries, what the hell they can do to stop losing Premier League matches and see if we can figure stuff out. Thanks for coming in. Much appreciated. Andy, I'll start with you. Arne Slot said, Aston Villa are almost having the inverse season to Liverpool. They started really slowly, really sluggishly, and yet they've now whipped themselves into gear. They've got 4 Premier League wins on the bounce. They had that disappointing result in Europe, but I think they're relatively okay with that one, to be fair. But in their last 4 Premier League games, obviously they beat Manchester City at home last week. They went to Spurs and won very impressively. Beat Burnley at home, beat Fulham at home as well. Before that, it was a draw at Sunderland. So they're in relatively good nick. The question is, their style of play is probably more, but they don't play many long balls, basically. You know, one of the teams who don't do that, but they play out, but the playing out is good. And I don't know, I haven't decided yet if that's a good thing for Liverpool to be playing a team who plays, or a bad thing for Liverpool to be playing one of the most informed teams in the Premier League.
Yeah, well, it's nice that we don't have to pay 40 to 50 quid to watch players take 1.5 minutes over corners and throw-ins. We'll actually see a game of football break out and some actual action on the pitch, which will be nice. Regardless how the results go, I was thinking that myself. Actually, it's the complete inverse season, isn't it? They don't score in their first 4, they don't win in their first 5, and then they've won their last 4 in the bounce. And we win our first 5, and we've lost every game since in the Premier League. And where it's ended up is that it's quite literally evened itself out to the point where we're on the same points, and I think they're 1 goal behind us now. And they'll fancy themselves now coming into this game because they're the team in form. And I think the interesting thing with them is, the strategy just seemed bizarre last season, and as exciting as it was that they'd brought these players in on loan, like Rashford, who did well, like Asensio, who did well, didn't feel like anyone really considered the idea that in the summer they have to go back and we have to rebuild this team again. And that seemed to not work for them in the first 4 games. But you actually look at the team that beats Man City, I think every single player on that pitch that started the game was in the has been at Villa for at least 2 years. So they're right back to where they started from. They're picking the lads that know exactly what they're doing, and it's coming off for them because they're banging form. Yeah,
it's interesting now because Andy's right. They really struggled to score goals at the start of the season. They just couldn't. There was talk about Ollie Watkins and is his head elsewhere. What's happened to him? But since then, actually, they've managed to they don't score tons. It's been 3s, 2s, and 1s, but they fixed that one. Against Manchester City, it was a well-worked set piece with a little bit of good fortune to it. So they found their goal-scoring form just in time for the Reds, who seem to let everyone have some good goal-scoring form against them.
I think if you've worked out a way to score goals, you'll score goals against Liverpool at the minute, the way we are defensively, just how bad the likes of Chiesa and Konate have been. I don't want to rip them too much, but it does feel as though when you're coming up against a side like this, the only thing for me is Buendia picked up an injury against Man City, so that's in the back of my mind, thinking he's a threat. He gets the assist for that goal. I think he scored a few as well, so in my mind, it's, well, at least that threat's gone, but then you've got Morgan Rogers, you have got Ollie Watkins there, and these players seem to be clicking back in a little bit more. The only thing for me is the way we're conceding goals, it's coming from sloppy mistakes at the back. For me, I haven't seen some absolute worldy goal from loads of build-up play from sides that much this season. It seems to be that we're making massive mistakes at the back, you know what I mean, from sloppiness. I mean, we even saw it the other day with Gomez making mistakes and stuff like that, not playing it out from the back very well, all that sort of stuff. So that's in the back of my mind, of me thinking if we can just sort of stop making those mistakes, we should be okay. But just with the state that we're in at the minute, I'm not happy to be coming up against this side. But Rodgers, and that's always going to be a threat, isn't it? So
yeah, absolutely. The injury situation for them, they've missed Tielemans. He's out for a little bit, and then Buendia went off. We don't know our time recording, Andy, where they're going to be at with him. In terms of replacements for him, they can't use Harvey Elliott because he's technically
they're not using him anyway.
Well, he wasn't even in the squad for that game anyway. So, even if he was, he might have been an option to replace Buendia, similar-ish kind of stature place that he can't come in. Maybe someone, Marlon, Barkley, Maatsen, they all came off the weekend. So it will be a different setup for Aston Villa without Buendia, because he's their creative spark. If he isn't fit, he will be a miss for them.
Yeah, and they've got Sancho on the bench there as well, who we all like to have a bit of a laugh at now, but literally 3 years ago, he was the next big thing that everybody wanted. United signed him for about 80 million or something ridiculous, isn't it? So, you know, there's no doubt that Villa's one of those clubs where players like that can go to, regain a bit of confidence, and then get their big move after that, which obviously Marcus Rashford has done himself. I think Malin's a dangerous player as well. Hasn't really worked out for him too much at Villa, but he's quick. He's got a goal in him. Always remember watching him for the Dutch national side. You can see what a good player he is. And the Premier League sort of can make a fool out of anybody. If there's any part of your game which isn't quite up to it, then you will be dropped from the team and even from the squad in the case of Harvey Elliott. And, you know, with those players, I almost feel sorry for them because 5-6 years ago, they would have absolutely started for Aston Villa. They would have been their main player, but because they're a little bit smaller and a little bit more slight, and Arsenal have legitimised this sort of glorified Stoke football that everyone's just picking teams which they know aren't going to get sort of physically bullied off the ball. So that's somewhere that obviously we've struggled. It's a department we've struggled on in recent weeks, and maybe against Villa it won't quite be as bad as that, but it's still going to be a high line. It's still going to be really compact. They're well organised. Every single footballer in that Aston Villa team knows what they're doing, which is absolutely not the case for Liverpool at the moment with the amount of upheaval we've had over the last year. So it's going to be a big test. But listen, like, Arne Slot needs to win a game very soon. I'm not anywhere near the slot out camp yet, and I'm broadly of the opinion that no matter how bad it gets this season, he deserves another window at least to put it right, given the credit that he has in the bank. But if you look at our next three, Villa, City and Real Madrid, and if there's no win there, then it's no wins, only one win in the last 10. So it becomes very difficult for him to keep his job after that, and I hope we don't get to that point. But this is probably the most winnable of the next three, and I do think he needs to win one of his next three. The
interesting one is all three of these teams that we're about to face aren't long ball teams. And Arne Slot, he said today, like, you know, I'm not making excuses. People just ask me reasons, and I tell you the reasons, what things that we're struggling with and that we need to get better at. And he said, like, you know, the set pieces and the throw-ins. And then he did mention, like, Villa did score from a set piece against City. But these are teams who will probably try and play a bit more. I don't think Villa really have the personnel to be able to long ball, second ball kind of stuff. That's what like Man United, big hoof it up, maybe try and win the second balls and bounce off there. I don't think with Ollie Watkins up front, Villa are that. They don't tend to be that. But they are really good at playing through the lines. Like, they did that to City more than a couple of occasions. I'm just thinking from a style of play point of view, if you're Unai Emery, you come to Anfield and go, we're going to do what we've done. We've won 4 Premier League games on the spin doing it this way. Or do you look at Liverpool and go, everyone's had success getting the ball in the air, playing second balls, playing percentages and trying to work from there. I do wonder if you're Unai Emery, what your game plan would be.
Yeah, I don't think he's the type of manager that'd change too much when he's already on a win and run. You know, I've done a couple of Villa channels this week, and all of them are very confident that he's going to keep it the way that it is, and he's not just going to throw it all out just to try and beat us, like you've just said. I mean, I've got a bit of a bone to pick with Arne Slot with the way he just reveals all our issues in all of his press conferences. I think a lot of people are saying that at the minute, whether it's post-match or pre-match, he's just done his press conference then. It just feels as though he just completely says how we're going to play the game, what we're going to do. And that just gives managers like Emery the opportunity to just go, right, he's going to play it here, he's not going to play him. And it's driving me insane.
At least Pep Blinders wrote a book and made a bit of money out of it.
I know, well, that's fair enough, but Slot will just sit there and just be like, right, this is why we're losing those games, and then continue to do the same thing and not make any changes. And I mean, obviously, Isak being injured, I'm sure will come onto our side. We're not going to go for that 4-4-2 style of thing. He'll just end up keeping it 4-3-3 and all that. And it just feels like we're really predictable at the minute. So maybe, like you've just said, maybe you should change it. But I can't see it. If you're consistently winning football games and you've just beaten Man City, why would you? But we definitely are the weak link in this one. And it's a massive concern for me. I know you've just said, like, keep Slot in his job and all that. And I'm with you completely. He gets to the end of the season. But he's losing his ability to do the press conferences and his ability to, like, break down his tactics and all that a little bit more subtly than, do you know what I mean? It's just...
Yeah, you just sort of want him to roll out some cliches for a month in the press conference. And I know, like, you guys obviously do reactions to press conferences and stuff, and that might make it a bit more boring, but it's just a bit of extra noise that we don't need right now. And even if he's not making excuses, this is what people are saying. This is what the media is spinning it as. This is what social media is saying about him. And we've got enough issues right now without out, you know, everyone's saying, oh, like point and laugh, look at what Arne Slot said now, just, you know, roll out sort of game of two halves. Yeah, the fans were brilliant today, just do that for a month.
I thought today he kind of handled it better. He was like, yeah, well, you know, if I say this, yous are going to say this. So he went, let's just say we've got a few issues. He tried to bat it away as best
I think
as he
he's
could.
heard people talking the way that I'm talking now and saying, why are you doing that?
He's definitely, if Villa want to change their style of play, we're the team to do it against, Andy. It's fair to say. They went to Spurs and actually they played Marlon up front. And they played Gasson. Maybe he becomes an option for them on that right-hand side. And not play Ollie Watkins. Again, that doesn't really make a difference. That just gives you more threat in behind. So I don't know the thinking there. So I don't think Villa are going to hoof it up the pitch and try and play seconds. It doesn't seem what they do. But what they have got is a lot of energy in midfield. Kamara, Onana, Rodgers as like that three, you know, two in front of the one. Very good technical players, but also loads and loads of energy as well. And Liverpool are a little bit light in midfield, you know, whether that be in terms of actual physicality or in terms of numbers. Obviously, Curtis is probably going to not play. Ryan Gravenberch, we'll wait and see. Hopefully, he is going to be fit. That midfield, it feels like they've got a little bit more in the engine room at the moment, which could be a bit of a concern.
Yeah, definitely. Their physical side, they buzz about and they've got lots of energy.
McGinn's another example of that, of course.
Yeah, totally. And he's almost like that thing that we thought we were going to start seeing loads of 3 or 4 years ago, where it was like central players playing out wide who then, when they don't have the ball, their natural instinct is to come inside and make it really, really tight and compact there. So you've almost got like, with Kamara, Onana, Rodgers and McGinn, you've got 4 players there. 2 of them are playing the front 4, but they're all quite central based, and you know, it's going to be very difficult to play through that, but it's also going to be very, very difficult to win second balls. I mean, this is my major gripe with Liverpool at the minute. They're just not winning second balls in any way, shape or form. You know, you always think back to the Jurgen Klopp sides, and I don't mean to make it a Klopp versus Slot thing, but the whole identity was battling, was winning second balls, and you know, I think people joked that the Henderson, Wijnaldum, Milner used to call it the Brexit midfield because it was a little bit workmanlike and maybe they weren't going to score 10 goals a season each, but what it was so hard working and it was just absolute graft to play against, and everyone said that, whereas I'd argue that the team we have now is more technical. There's probably actually better players in it, but the graft is nowhere near the same. And I thought it was really, really bad against Brentford. I thought it was bad the other night, but then it's a thrown together side. But these teams are, whether they're hoofing it up or whether it's Liverpool who are playing a pass, if they're getting a tackle in, they're winning the second ball every single time. And I look at whichever two play, and it might be taken out of our hands because I don't know. He said about Jones, 99% chance of missing it. He said that Gravenberch's not like 100% going to play because he's back in training. So you look at McAllister and Szoboszlai, and I like Szoboszlai and I like the running that he does, but I don't think he's necessarily quick over 5 yards. You know, that little bit of explosive energy to get into a tackle. Certainly McAllister's looked a bit leggy, and even at the best of times he's not the quickest. So they're going to need to look after the ball really, really, really well, because if they don't, I don't think they're going to win a battle, and I don't think they're going to win a scrap against that Villa midfield. Yeah,
let's move on then to the Liverpool sides. We'll talk about that. So obviously team news, Andy's kind of hinted at there as well. So at the press conference there, obviously Alisson and Jeremy Frimpong are even close by all accounts. They're going to be out for a little bit longer. He effectively ruled out Curtis Jones, Alexander Isak. He said 99.9% they're not going to be in the squad. So yeah, they're not going to be in the squad. Good news though on Ryan Gravenberch. He trained yesterday, he trained today. Usually if someone does 2 training sessions and pulls up, and then there's probably got a little bit more recovery time tomorrow, my guess he's probably available to start. Again, but that's just guessing. Other than that, it's kind of as you were. So on that basis, let's try and pick a Liverpool team. So Mamardashvili's in goal. We have got Konate and Van Dijk will be at centre-back. So let's talk full-backs. I'll start with you. Does Andy Robertson going off after an hour and Milos Kerkez playing 90 minutes in midweek suggest he's thinking Andy Robertson? Or does that just suggest that maybe he's saving Andy Robertson's legs because he's got 3 games in a week?
I think you've got to start Robertson in this one. I'm so frustrated with Kerkez, and it sounds terrible because he's so young. I think is he 21? Like, he's such a young kid for me to be putting this pressure on him, but he's just not the player that we saw at Bournemouth last season whatsoever. And he just the way he's throwing himself on the floor, you know, he's not winning his tackles. He's just really rash with his decision making, and I don't know if it's the way Slot's deciding to play and whether he's telling him, listen, I don't want you running up and down that wing in the way that he wants to do that, do you know what I mean? And you can just sort of see that he's being told to defend a bit more and he's not really doing it properly, and it just stresses me out massively to watch. And I just feel like Robertson is the strength there. Was it against Frankfurt? Was it Robertson put the ball up to Ekitike? And that was brilliant, and we've missed that. We've missed that creative spark from Robertson and his sort of senior presence on the pitch as well. I understand people saying Robertson's lost pace and stuff like that, and he's looked a bit rash himself at times. You know, last season we were all saying it, but I just think for me you've got to get Kirkes out of the firing line now, because he's so heavily criticised. Everyone's watching his performances so carefully, and like you've just said, I mean, to play the full 90, I just can't see him play in this game. I don't know. It depends what Slot sees as his strongest 11, and in my mind, for some reason, he is persistent with Kirkes again and again, but I want Andy Robertson to be on the pitch for that game, and then on the other side, I think your only choice really is Connor Bradley, unless you're going to put Szoboszlai there. But
or Joey.
Well, yeah, you could put. He didn't have a good game, not last night, the night before. So
the Robertson one's interesting, Andy, because I think if you any worry about Robertson would be more if he's coming up against like pace and power.
Yeah.
Now, in theory, it depends what they do on their right hand side. If it was Emi Buendia, for example, we know he's not that. He drifts around there, but he's more. He's not going to really beat you for pace. Emi Buendia. It might be different. Kasson, maybe it depends what they do over there, and maybe if Marlon plays, for example, then you do come up against that type of player. We haven't really got a clue what Aston Villa are going to do, so you can't really choose your opponent. You, like, for example, more often than not, when Liverpool play the next two games against City and Real Madrid, they'll have a rough idea of who's going to be in those teams. With this Buendia potential injury, they don't really have a like for like, so it's difficult to kind of plot that one. But having said that, given the fact that Robertson only plays the hour, maybe as the hint that he's going to get the nod. Yeah,
I watched a good bit of Evan Gesson last season. And I don't think he's very good, so that's me getting clipped up when he scores hat-tricks. But
cold takes exposed.
So yeah, no, I'm completely with Abby. It has to be Robertson for this one. I mean, I think he will have in mind a team for the next three. I don't think either of Kirkes or Robertson will start every single game up to the international break now. And that is obviously mainly testament to where Robertson is at, because he's going to go away with Scotland, play 2 games again, massive player for them. But I just want to see what the sort of the devil I know in Andy Robertson at left back at the minute, and I understand, that he can't get up and down like he used to. There is a reason we signed 2 fullbacks, because he was making mistakes last season as well. He's not averse to that, but at the minute I'm just watching Kirkes make mad decisions all the time. And to be completely honest with you, it's absolutely burning my head out. So we can see the goal at Crystal Palace because he can't kick the ball straight and high with his right foot. He turns around and kicks it out with his left. Does the same thing against Brentford as well. And I very rarely give our players any stick in the ground, because I think my job is to go there and support them, but I just completely lost my head at him in the ground for the first time. I used a word about a Liverpool footballer in the ground that I've never used before, and hopefully will never use again, but that's how thick that decision was. And then against Crystal Palace, he actually did use his right foot at one point, and I thought, yeah, God, I understand why you haven't been doing that, but yeah, it's... He can get better. I hope he will get better. The one thing I would say about his performance against Crystal Palace is he does put 2 absolute peaches of balls into the box, where I think Kieran Morrison misses a header first half, and is it Cade Gordon misses one second half? And that is what you saw at Bournemouth. It was getting into those positions and putting in crosses from the touchline, where it's very hard to get an accurate cross in. He puts 2 really, really good balls in. And I want to see him getting up and down more. I want to see the fullbacks attacking the back post more. But it's very difficult because Gakpo and Salah aren't the best at defending and getting back. Luis Diaz obviously used to do that, and that's a separate question. But, if both fullbacks attack the back post and then Gakpo and Salah can't be bothered getting back in, then you do leave yourself very, very, very open indeed. So it is difficult. I don't think the system's helping Kirkes. I don't think, the players around him are helping him. But my God, he's certainly not helping himself either.
Yeah, I think it feels like that sub might have been a hint, but we'll find out. And it'll be Connor at right back. You would guess that. At some point, though, the manager is going to have to do something else over there. Connor Bradley can't play every game. If by all reports, Abi Frimpong's out for like 6 to 8 weeks. Like, Connor Bradley can't play all these games. He will go away, as Andy knows, with his national team as well, and he'll be playing front and centre in those games. His body just doesn't ever last when he's constantly used. So the manager will have to have a plan B, whether that's Gomez, Ramsey, Sobbo. But I guess that doesn't start at Aston Villa. It's probably Connor Bradley's game, and then maybe if you have to make the changes, maybe City away is where you go, right, you know what, we'll just put Joe Gomez in or something. We'll kind of cross that bridge when we get to it.
I thought Calvin Ramsey looked all right.
He did,
To be fair. I thought I did say to me dad in the ground, where's this kid been all this time? Do you know what I mean? It just felt like he's been, it's felt like he's been dismissed and then injured and then he's just not had his opportunity. But to be fair, he was probably one of the only players on the pitch the other night that sort of proved to me that he wanted to put any effort in and actually try. But I'm with you. I think it's got to be Bradley for this one. We've got no other choice really. It's a shame about Frimpong, but I can't say he was having the best performances himself either, to be honest. I think no one's helping anyone at the minute in terms of performances on that pitch.
Andy just nearly sent himself through the back of the studio there. That's hilarious.
Am I on shot there?
Oh my God. I think Szoboszlai is always a choice there. I think Szoboszlai's probably played the best there all season compared to anybody else. But once you've lost him in that midfield, you're sort of stunting his growth a little bit in that way. So I think it'll be Bradley for this one, but I think we might see a bit of maybe a Szoboszlai for one of them against Madrid or City. Are you okay?
Yeah, fine.
You look in shock.
You done well there, good balance.
Good
You actually,
balance,
if you wouldn't have saved yourself then,
Yeah, I didn't know that about this chair. I'm normally sat where you are, you see. So
didn't know what about it, that it leans back.
yeah.
Basically, it's all good.
Emphatically as well.
You done really well there.
If you would have
I
fell
think
off
that is the one
then.
that Pajak uses, so Chris must be a bit of a leaner sometimes. That's all I can gather on that one. Let's move on to
Didn't even try and
midfield.
save you.
Let's move into midfield. Gravenberch being back is a real bonus, so let's presume he's fit to play, he'll play.
Can't see him risking him straight for a start though.
See, I think I would. I think if it wasn't that bad of an injury and he does 2 full sessions, I think probably let's say for now, yes. Look, the manager kind of hinted towards the fact that he's probably going to play, so let's put him in. Sobbo has to play. I think then his options at the moment are really with no Curtis Jones. It's probably one of Alexis or Wirtz, and that is a dramatic change. Abby, depending on what type of game you want this to be. McAllister plays 60, obviously 65 really in midweek, and Wirtz isn't even involved in the squad. Probably edging that therefore maybe towards Florian Wirtz.
It's got to be Wirtz. McAllister's performances are not good enough at the minute. He looks an absolute shell of himself. We need to win football games, and having McAllister on that pitch, that worries me massively. And I think Wirtz is finally, I wouldn't say coming into his own a little bit. He's starting to look a little bit better. He's creating lots of chances and stuff like that. So I want Florian Wirtz on the pitch for this one. I think we've got to keep going with him. Game time's going to help him. So I think you've got to have Florian Wirtz for that one. I don't know what's going on with McAllister. The other night, even with all the kids around him, it's not good enough. I don't know where he's gone, and it's devastating to see after that midfield that we had last season. But
yeah, he's been miles off it really, hasn't he? Wirtz for you as well?
Yeah, it would be Wirtz. I actually wouldn't be surprised if it's Szoboszlai and McAllister in the midfield. I get what you're saying about Gravenberch, but he's going to want him for... Well, at some point, if Curtis Jones isn't going to be back anytime soon, at some point McAllister's going to have to play one of these 3, surely, because you wouldn't think Gravenberch's going to come back straight in, play 3 massive games, then go away with the Netherlands and play another 2, and then play every single game.
It is worth mentioning that it wasn't like a muscle injury though, it was just a twisted ankle, so maybe that does change it. It was just a case of rest rather than any real damage. So
of course, but
maybe that changes.
But he's not playing a couple of playing a couple of weeks now, which means to go in and play 3 really, really high intensity games as they will be, then go away with the Netherlands. I'm not sure what who they're playing, but he will be front and centre for them as well. And then going into the Christmas period where you play like every 3 days anyway, I think that'll be difficult for him. And I did actually think when McAllister came on against Brentford, we saw like a little bit of the footballer that he used to be. And Alexis McAllister playing on top form no matter what will start for Liverpool. Now, as Abby says, he's absolutely not in top form at the minute, so that doesn't apply to this game. But the plan will be to get him back into that Liverpool side and firing at some point. I certainly don't think he's finished as a footballer by any stretch of the imagination. That just wouldn't make any sense with sort of what age he's at. So I think he's just in a bit of bad form, and there's an argument to try and play him into it. It depends. If Gravenberch is fully fit and can do the 90, then you do go Szoboszlai and Gravenberch based on form at the minute. It's just such a shame about Curtis Jones because he has been one of the shining lights in a really poor team at the moment and a really poor midfield, and he looks after the ball really well and gets us out of some tricky situations. And obviously, if he's not available for this one, I hope he is available for Real Madrid and Man City. And if he is, for me, he's straight back in no matter what
100%.
at the moment. And, he isn't somebody who's probably going to go away. I know he's been in England squads recently, but he's not.
He wasn't in the last one.
No,
Wasn't in the last one, right? So he's not going to go away and play 90 minutes each. I don't think he's eligible for the under-21s anymore, is he? So, he's going to get a bit of a rest anyway. So hopefully when he's back, we can even maybe take a bit of a risk with him. If he has had an injury, and he aggravates it slightly, he's out for another week. That's not the worst thing in the world because we get that week off anyway. But yeah, just desperate for some legs and some quality in that midfield, and we're not going to get it from Jones at the minute. Whether we're going to get it from Gravenberch in his first game back, certainly don't think we're going to get it from McAllister. So yeah, it might be a bit of sort of watching from behind our fingers again.
Yeah, it's not none of it's really ideal. Sobo at the moment is the only one who's fit, in form.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. Everyone else is either one or the other, or in some cases neither. I'm not sure that Alexis is actually either. I'm not sure he's fully fit, and I'm not sure he's in good form either. So yeah, up front then, it's going to be Ekitike, Gakpo, Salah. I can't imagine it's not. Like, there's a couple of guys there maybe pushing for starts, maybe Chiesa, for example. But again, he just doesn't do that. It's
Slot doesn't pick him.
No, it's going to be that will be the front three. I actually thought Ekitike was poor against Brentford. It was the first time he's had a bad game, and that's one of them things. It can happen. I don't think he covered himself in glory at all, especially for the second goal when he's a bit loose with the ball. But there are goals in that front three. There should be. Like, Gakpo and Ekitike are scoring goals still and creating stuff. Salah isn't, and he's having a torrid time. Mo Salah, and we'll see how he goes. But it's hard. Yeah, the manager isn't doing nothing else. Isak not available, of course. We know it's going to be that.
Yeah, I do feel for Chiesa because there has been times this season where he has probably been a lot more on form than most of them apart from Ekitike, and it's just it's felt criminal at times for me for Arne Slot not to just give him that chance, especially when we've even at times when he hasn't brought him on off the bench, and I'm thinking we need to try and win this game of football. The manager doesn't fancy him, so there's no point in even discussing as if he's going to. He's obviously played him the other day just because he's thrown the competition. Basically, he doesn't want to be in the Carabao Cup, so he started loads of the kids, played 2 left backs, bloody stuck Chiesa on and Rio. I mean, Rio looks like a bright spark, but he's not going to be playing this game. So
Rio's issue at the moment is the physicality is really tough, and I think Rio with 15 minutes to go against, if a team is sitting back, like Burnley away, but what a sub.
I also don't think Rio realises how quick he is. Every time it's sort of cutting inside, and listen, you play for the under-21s, and you're by far the best player on the pitch. If you're Rio Ngumoa, and you can skin 5 players and put one in the top corner, and he is capable of doing that in the first team as well. Like, he has got so much ability, but there's sometimes you just sort of think. I mean, at one point the other night, he's running for a ball down the line and just about doesn't keep it in. But the Palace left back has decided that ball was going out, and the pace of Rio to get to that ball, sometimes you would just quite like to see him make a burst in behind, and especially against Aston Villa where they do play such a high line, with a bit of a lack of pace in our front line at the moment, with Gakpo never really haven't had that lightning pace, and Salah obviously being at the age he is. I mean, he could certainly be an option off the bench.
Absolutely. I think the Chiesa question now, he is the backup centre forward for a while. Again, Isak, if he's ruled out for the day, obviously for the game, that surely puts him as a doubt for Tuesday. If he's completely ruled out for Saturday already, then that Tuesday becomes a doubt. I'm not sure Ekitike is doing 90 minutes 3 times a week. Chiesa will get game time at centre forward, probably off the bench in all 3 of them. I'm guessing that's what his role is going to be over the next couple of weeks. And by the way, I'm with you, I'd start him. If you're picking a Liverpool team on form, he'd be the team. Yeah. He probably...
It makes no sense.
The only problem is he wants to play on the left. He's not really a right winger. And Gakpo's doing all... He's not playing brilliant, Gakpo, but Gakpo is still getting involved in goals. And especially at Anfield. Gakpo tends to do that, but you're right on Chiesa. I think everyone agrees that many people watching along who would think that Chiesa doesn't deserve something. My guess is we'll see him up front in all 3 of these games. Ekitike just doesn't really play 90 minutes. With that, it feels like one of those games, Andy, given the issues Liverpool have got, the bench is going to have a couple of young lads on it. It's going to be Chiesa and Rio as your forward options. The likes of Endo, Gomez... I'm trying to think who else maybe on there. One of McAllister or Wirtz. So there's going to be options on the bench, but when you lose 4 or 5 players to injury all of a sudden, and you've got 3 games a week, there's a massive emphasis on the lads on the pitch. Too often Arne Slot's been forced by the lads on the pitch to have to go to his bench and just do this mad thing where everyone gets on and you're just scrambling for a goal. These lads on the pitch need to make sure that they step up, because we haven't got, A, the numbers aren't there, but B, that's kind of proven unsustainable. It worked for a bit, it didn't work, then on in. I know everyone's having a pop at the manager, and he has made some decisions by all means that have been questionable at best, and some of them have just been bad decisions. But surely the emphasis now is on these lads. I'm picking you. You play for Liverpool. You've got to up your game. You've got to get this going a bit now, boys.
Yeah, and Federico Chiesa is going to be on the bench in the next 3 games, and that just does feel unfair to me. And there is sometimes when I think where like the manager does quite like to have this sort of ruthless almost gimmick at times about him, and he's great at being ruthless when it comes to, you know, hauling off a young lad like Conor Bradley at half-time, or Kirkes after he's made a silly decision, making a dive, or Kwanzaa and coming out and battering them. But he's not so great at being ruthless when it comes to his big, high-earning players who are probably going to step up to him and have a go at him, you know. So, you know, I don't necessarily buy this whole ruthless thing, because you get Fede Chiesa there who will come on and run his heart out. It's probably never going to go knocking on the manager's door. He's just happy to be there, but he can't seem to earn himself a start, so that just doesn't.
Where would you start him if you were going to start? So would it be on the left instead of Gakpo?
I think so.
Or on the
Yeah,
right
I think probably on the left instead of Gakpo at this point. And the only reason for that is because I just wonder if that incredible Mo Salah goal can kick him into form. And if
that's going to go up with the Christian Benteke over at United. There's like one of the best ever Liverpool goals that meant fuck all in the grand scheme thing. It's not
Coates.
Yeah, we've got loads of those. Loads of boss goals that ultimately Liverpool lost the game and everyone forgets, because it was an absolute piece of genius from Mo Salah. I remember Arnold saying a few weeks ago, the reason I don't take him off sometimes is because I think he's got to go out of nowhere. And I was like, but has he? And then, oh yeah, he has. He definitely has, because that was that piece of genius. You're right. Hopefully that just, even though Liverpool lost, maybe gives him a little bit of a spark.
But if Federico Chiesa started ahead of Mo Salah, Salah could have no complaints either.
No, absolutely.
I think, you know, you can say Ekitike at this point, he's done enough to earn himself a start, because he has actually been one of the shining lights. But like you say, against Brentford, I mean, I was in the ground, and I think I said this on the show the other day. I think, you know, when things aren't going well for him, the next step in his Liverpool development is just to get his hands a little bit dirtier. And he's such an elegant footballer, and the finish against Frankfurt's brilliant, and it was Torres 2.0, and I get all that. But sometimes when you're not getting the chances, just scrap and you might get something. And again, that Brentford game, there were 15-20 minutes at a time where Brentford were on top of us and we couldn't get out. And all you need to do is for your centre forward to win a foul even, and you're up the pitch, and that stem suddenly stops. And what Federico Chiesa does is he just grafts and runs. And, you know, I know that's not enough for you to be a success at Liverpool, but but it helps. And also nobody's offering even that at the moment. Even the other night, some of the young players came on. I just didn't think they looked quite hungry enough or worked quite hard enough. And I know how basic that analysis is, and I apologise for it, but I do just like seeing Fede come on and putting himself about at the moment. And like, he is a physical presence. He does win fouls. He does get us up the pitch. And at the end of the game, I was in the Cop the other night, he comes over and the whole of the Cop is applauding him and singing his song. And at this point, it's not because he's got a catchy song, it's because he is playing like he's one of us on the pitch with the effort he's putting in. I absolutely love him. And I think there is an element of snobbery about the manager not picking him. And I think he needs to get over it very, very quickly, because the other lads aren't pulling up trees for him either.
No, absolutely. I think I would have him in the team. I think I'd start him over Gakpo for now, because I just don't think he's a right winger. I think you lose a bit of that, what he gives you from the right. But Gakpo, by the way...
But at least Gakpo's still creating something. Yeah. I mean, I know he's predictable, and you just know he's just going to cut around the box and try and have a go, and that's driving me insane, but at least he's still getting assists and stuff like that. At least he's still creating. Mo, they can just put 2 men on Mo, and he's just completely shut out of the game.
You're right. Mo is not playing great at all. But
it's just a shame we don't have a backup to Mo, really. Do you know what I mean? Because he'd be dropped.
He would. I think the thing with Chiesa, for me, his most impressive thing is that it's a shooting with his right foot.
Yeah.
And you kind of, if you put him on the right wing, you kind of negate him. Now, you're taking away his best. It's almost doing him a bit of a disservice to stick him over there, really, because you're taking away his best attributes. So I think I would start Chiesa, but the manager won't. But we will see Chiesa up front at some point. Probably in all of these games, at some point, I don't think Ekitike is ready. And yeah, I say, we're not exactly sure where Alexander Isak is at this moment in time. And we'll come back to score predictions and stuff at the end, guys. Before we do, though, we'll have a little spin around the Premier League at the other games that are happening this weekend. There's no early kickoffs tomorrow, of course. No Friday night games either, so everything's starting at 3 p.m. In terms of biggish games, I mean, I was going to say around Liverpool, but like that would include like the likes of like Palace or Brentford. So I don't even know where it's at, but like, it will be interesting to see how United do at Forest. Abby, our man with his 3 days haircut, he's got 2 days to go. Sean Dyche's Forest is a different kettle of fish, but it would be very Man United to win 3 on the spin, then get the mood up, and then lose against Nottingham Forest and get absolutely diced. But to be fair to United, they're in pretty good nick.
I think that kid with his ears desperate for them to lose a game because his whole brand will just fall away. The moment they win 5 games, his whole brand goes away. He gets a haircut, and then that's the end of that.
Everyone's trying it now. I've seen somebody do like, I'm not cutting my hair until Chiesa starts in the Prem. Come on.
Do you remember when Alisson did something like that? Exactly, Alisson wasn't going to shave his beard or something until we lost the game. Do you remember that years ago? That was funny, to be fair. And then remember he had a clean shave, and I was like, oh no.
I was going to say, if that was it'd be like me. If that was if the Liverpool lads had a shave every time we lost, Jesus Christ, the 11 Arnold slots around there as well. So yeah, we're losing every week.
But they are on good form at the minute, Man United, which is very sad to say as a Liverpool fan. Yeah, they do, exactly. I mean, they've got Mbeumo and Cunha there now. I mean, they've made good signings, which is horrible thing to say as a Liverpool fan. But what's Sean Dyche going to do? We don't know. It's so funny. All the Evertonians that I know are commenting on all Forest fans stuff, all just saying like, wait till it all falls apart.
But usually with Dyche, it gets good and then it falls apart quickly. So you don't know. Man United are above Liverpool, so that's why we've had to mention them. I mean, Sunderland are above us as well, so maybe we have to.
Don't. I haven't looked at the table. I've been completely ignoring it and just shutting it out of my mind. I can't.
Manchester United supporters are telling me where we are in the league, and they're like, we're 6th and you're 7th. I'm like, I didn't know that.
I didn't think I'll look till like January now.
No, that is true. We are very much 7th place. Burnley, Arsenal. Set piece FC versus set piece FC a little bit there. You'd expect the better FC, set piece FC to win. Arsenal are a machine at this moment in time. With all due respect, like I'm being a bit jokey there, they are an absolute winning machine at this moment in time. I don't know. I mean, Burnley are the type of team who don't concede many chances. Arsenal are the type of team who don't really create too many from open play.
It's going to be a boring watch.
It will be a boring watch, but
Arsenal win.
Probably win 2-0 and Gabriel scores the opener. Like.
It will be something to nil. It will be something to nil to Arsenal. They're just not going to get beaten that game.
They're unbelievable defensively.
Yeah, they are. They are, to be fair, and it's not good to watch, but it is effective, and it's very similar to how Mourinho won the league in his second spell with Chelsea, where you just looked at them and you think, oh, how on earth do we score a goal against this team?
They don't concede chances. They man goals. They don't concede like shots.
Even to get like a yard of space in their midfield or in their final third is really, really difficult. Never mind to then find a way of putting the ball in the net from that. They unfortunately look absolutely formidable at the moment, and mathematically we can still get into the title race, but I'm looking at us and I just can't see it. However, players won't be thinking like that, and by the time in the ground on Saturday night, I won't be thinking like that, and we need to make sure we get into the November international break no more than 7 behind them.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels a long way off that. Bournemouth and Spurs at the moment, and Sunderland are the likely chasers, which is where we're at the moment. Spurs Chelsea's always good. That'll be nice before we. So I'm guessing you guys will go in the game. You might watch that in the pub before. Yeah. That'll be a very, very good game. I'd back Spurs, I think, on that one actually. Spurs, look, I know they've had a little bit of a wobble recently, but I've been really impressed with Spurs. Chelsea seem to be doing the Chelsea thing of just like roller coaster. They've got no idea where we're at, but. Obviously, the defeat against Sunderland as well didn't do them any favours. But yeah, I'd probably back Spurs, Andy.
I'm not miserable with football at the moment. I'm actually going to watch the Springsteen film instead of watching that beforehand. Yeah, so I'm just watching as little football as I can at the moment. But with that one, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, Spurs are a bit sort of Jekyll and Hyde at the moment. They've been in decent form recently. They lose again the League Cup a couple of nights ago, but like apparently they played quite well. And I think everyone after what happened last season, certainly in the league, is happy for Thomas Frank to just give him a little bit of time to get it right. And, you know, if you lose 1 in 4 or draw the odd one, they're fine with that as long as they can see progress. And they are seeing progress with that team at the moment. And Chelsea are kind of in that phase where they've got loads of really, really good and exciting players, but they just seem to throw in the odd defeat or the odd draw. And obviously at some point, those players are going to get frustrated with the amount of minutes they're getting because there is about 50 players in that squad. So, yeah, I could see any result there, actually. I really could.
Yeah, it'd be a good game, that one. I might tune into that one. I mean, I'll be live, I think, in our build-up for some of it, but that'll be a good one to watch. Into Sunday, probably the 2 best teams in the league, other than Arsenal, Manchester City versus Bournemouth, which is mad. In terms of open play stuff, Bournemouth are absolutely fantastic going to the Etihad. If Bournemouth can go to City and win, and by the way, I think they can beat Manchester City. I'm not sure they will, but I think they definitely can have got the capabilities. People are going to really start taking notice of, is this like the Forest season? I know Forest eventually fell away last year, Abby, but Bournemouth, it feels like everyone's kind of like, oh yeah, Bournemouth are doing quite well. A real statement win at City, again, whether they get it or not, could really open a few eyes to how good they're doing. Because Iriola and that team deserve so much credit, considering what they lost in the summer and what they've managed to do with that squad. It's mad that we're even talking about it, but they can absolutely beat Manchester City.
Yeah, definitely. City aren't the City of old. Some of the quality of some of the City players is not up to what we're used to be honest. So I think they definitely can go and win there. They are being overlooked. I think that happens once a season, doesn't it? There's always the one, like you've just said, with Forest and stuff like that. So I will put my money on Bournemouth.
Ooh,
I honestly think I would be putting my money on Bournemouth. Don't think City are the City that we remember.
The flip side is Erling Haaland. Can just turn up. At home especially,
he can just be completely shut out of a game.
Very rarely at the Etihad. Away from home, like at the
Etihad,
he's a joke, and that's the difference. But what I would say is that Bournemouth have what you need to beat Manchester City is you need to be able to keep the ball off them. Eventually, at some point, you need pace and power, and you need someone who can put the ball in the back of the net, and actually, they've got all of that.
Yeah, that Bournemouth result start of the season just looks fantastic for us now. We didn't really realise it at the time, and you knew it was a decent team, and you would done well to get out of it with a win, but like, just looks like a fantastic result. They are such a good team. I actually did always look at Semenyo and sort of thought he is somebody who we can definitely, who can come in and improve Liverpool as well, or certainly improve our squad. I think he's a fantastic player, and they've just got that knack, Bournemouth, almost like Brighton, where whoever they have behind the scenes, it's almost like they can, doesn't matter how many players they lose, you know they've got the next big thing coming through. And for players like, I don't know if these players have come in, but the likes of Krupi up front for them, I'm not sure if he's new or if he's not, but either way, he's a type of player who they may develop into a sort of 50, 60 million pound player, at which point the big clubs can purchase him. But for example, Liverpool can't sign him because they can't give him the minutes he needs to become that player. So they've just found their niche there. Pick these players up, make them into great players, sell them on, and you know you've got the next big thing coming through. And to be fair, in an era where obviously, well, we've spent loads this summer, but loads of other teams are just buying, constantly spending massive money. It is quite refreshing to see teams like Bournemouth and Brighton consistently be able to find their niche and stay at a decent level in the Premier League doing what they're doing. And I think they've got a fantastic manager there who they backed from the start, even though it wasn't going well for them at the start. I think they play a lovely brand of football. I think they're exciting. I think they're energetic. It's not this pump it up and long throws into the box and taking ages over corners. It is sort of a bit of a throwback, high pressing, quick players scoring lots of goals. And yeah, fair play, they're a joy to watch.
Yeah, I think it's that'll be a good one to watch on Sunday. Hopefully after Liverpool have won. Back to us then. I can't sit and go, are we confident? Because I don't think anyone is particularly confident. You can't be confident when you've lost 5 or 6 or whatever it is. 6 or 7 now, is it? I can't even remember.
6 and 7.
6, yeah, absolutely. That League Cup game as well. It does count. As much as Arne Slot didn't really make it count. Do you think they're going to beat Aston Villa? What are our thoughts, guys? Abby's shaking her head a little bit there.
I hate being pessimistic and I hate it, but they've made me this way. Yeah. Like, it's no one's fault but their own that I'm losing faith that we're not going to be able to beat Villa at home. And it sounds ridiculous because Anfield under the lights and an 8 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday, we should be beating them. We've just literally won the Premier League in May. It's just feel like a shell of ourselves, and I can't
lose short. I mean, 5 Premier League games on the spin, man.
Maybe I'll say a draw. We haven't drawn once this season.
That would be very unlikely us to draw a game, I'm going to say.
I know.
That's more like me. That is going against the grain, saying Liverpool.
My shit prediction that it will be a 2-2 draw. It feels like we're going to have to go back to the way we used to be years ago with Jürgen, where we just have to outscore teams to try and win. So
I can't see us winning. I really can't see us winning.
How terrible are we, you know?
I think
terrible supporters.
If we go and put in a good performance and we win the game, it will be based on nothing that we've seen so far. It will be something completely different to what we've even been seeing in the underlying numbers and the performances. Don't get me wrong, I will be on the Cop on Saturday night and I will sing my heart out for 90 minutes and I will do everything I can from my perspective. And the negativity that I am emitting on this show will not be brought into the ground with
predictions me. Are different. You can predict us and you can still do support the different things. You hope you're right. At this moment in time, we are hoping Liverpool can win rather than expecting Liverpool can win games. That the only way they can change that is by winning games. I do think they'll win.
I think we'll get beat 2-1.
Oh, get beat!
Yeah, we'll
get beat. I'm not doing that.
Oh my God!
Even like no matter how the first half goes, even for 1-up, I can just see
the wheels fell off if that happens. Like that is panic. I mean, if they're not already panicked. I think they're going to win 2-1, and I think I'm taking heart in the fact that we do still create chances. And I don't think Villa are going to go and come and do the things that really, really bother us. I wouldn't be shocked if Liverpool do okay the next week in terms of results, and maybe they might not win all those games, but not get absolutely wellied off the pitch. And then the next time they play against the team who kick it in the box and welly off the pitch, that's where they start. So I think they're just going to squeak a win out. I'd back them against this type of team. I do think we do create a lot of chances. It is more hope than expectation for us. So we've got a win, a loss and a draw. So yeah, there you go. Clarity as ever from everyone here at Redmen TV. Thanks very much to Andy and for Abby for coming in and for joining us today, even though you can fuck off with that prediction. Thanks very much to all you guys for tuning in and watching. We will have a watch along live on Saturday night. So if you're not lucky enough, like the two guys next week, to be in the stadium at 8 PM on Saturday, come and join me and Dan, actually it is, for the watch along. We'll be live from 6:40 all the way through until the final whistle. So hopefully Liverpool can get themselves back on track. So yeah, come and join us for that one. We'll catch you on Saturday night. See you later.